with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good morning. Thanks for jumping on Facebook Live for this mid-morning check of some of the stories we are following here at Erie News Now. We'll bring in meteorologist David Wolter to give us an update on the first warning forecast in just a bit. First, though, in the news, President Joe Biden says America is on the move again. His words after taking office some 100 days ago. And that was just part of the message the president delivered to Congress and the country last night. Mr. Biden actually spoke for just over an hour with attendance at the joint session of Congress, reduced to about 200 people, of course, due to the pandemic. The president repeatedly used the word jobs as he talked about his nearly $6 trillion worth of proposed domestic programs. He introduced that American Families Plan. That's an almost $2 trillion effort, a program that includes universal preschool and tuition-free community college.
To win that competition for the future, in my view, we also need to make a once-in-a-generation investment in our families and our children. That's why I've introduced the American Families Plan tonight, which addresses 4 of the biggest challenges facing American families and in turn America.
Hitting the road to sell that agenda, headed to Atlanta today, going to be in Philadelphia on Friday. Well, the Republican Party's official response to that speech came from South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. He said the Biden policies and plans would only pull the country, in his words, further and further apart. And it seems the speech was also kind of pulling Texas Republican Ted Cruz further apart from his nap time. Yeah, more than an hour after President Biden took the podium, he was talking about his administration's plans for immigration reform, when cameras cut to Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who appeared to be drifting off to sleep. Twitter users were pretty quick to point out the sleepy-eyed Ted Cruz. A Vox reporter tweeted out some video of Ted Cruz seeming to fall asleep, captioned it, "When you're dreaming about Cancun." Another user tweeted Ted snooze. Cruz also took to Twitter himself to kind of poke fun at the situation, branded the event, the speech itself, boring but radical. While U.S. military planes are set to start landing over in India today, those planes loaded with supplies to help that nation fight a huge surge of COVID-19 cases. India facing really one of the world's worst outbreaks of the coronavirus. More than 200,000 people in India have died. The U.S. now sending supplies, more than $100 million worth to India. Oxygen, masks, COVID tests among all the items being sent to India. And the White House is committed to sharing up to 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine with India. That version is still not authorized for use here in the U.S. Well, a plan that would bring some major changes to a number of state-run universities, including Edinburgh. It's another step closer to reality this morning. The state system of higher education's Board of Governors approved a preliminary plan that would consolidate 6 of those universities, including Edinburgh. They've also opened up a 60-day comment or public comment period for these moves. This plan would merge Cal, Edinburgh, and Clarion University into one school, then merge Bloomsburg, Lockhaven, and Mansfield. All these moves set for next July. And they say while the universities would share a new name for each of those 3 school groups, they would maintain their current identities, campuses, and athletic programs. A final vote from that Apache Board of Governors set for July. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf says his coronavirus task force is ready to consider the next steps when it comes to lifting some of the state's remaining COVID restrictions. That was part of his message during a Wednesday trip to Erie and the Bayfront Convention Center, addressing vaccine rollout issues in the Keystone State. Governor Wolf talked about vaccine hesitancy, saying now is just not the time to get complacent. He also outlined some potential changes to the vaccine distribution process, like trying to get more doses out to family doctors' offices and offering up additional walk-in vaccination clinics. And the governor said his task force will be meeting next week to see if a rollback of any of those current state restrictions is in fact possible. And down in the Pittsburgh area this morning, the Allegheny County's executive now encouraging sports venues and entertainment venues to create special sections for vaccinated spectators. That move follows a similar proposal from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Allegheny County exec Rich Fitzgerald says they're already considering that sort of measure for Pittsburgh's outdoor summer concert series. Fitzgerald's comments come about a day after the CDC released its updated guidelines that let most Americans, vaccinated Americans, forego mask wearing while they are outdoors. All right, let's bring David into the mix on this soggy Thursday morning. We talk about dreary weather. This is defining it, I think, this morning.
Yeah, we have the term of endearment here in Erie, dreary Erie, and we certainly have that going for us today. But this is very beneficial rain. I noticed a lot of folks posting on Facebook that, we need this rain. I know we're kind of sacrificing a full day to be outside, but we're getting a healthy dose of rain right now. 53 degrees. Certainly a whole lot cooler than the 70s, what we experienced yesterday, but that's what clouds and showers will do. And of course, we'll continue to watch more of those areas of rain. Very widespread rain continues up the lakeshore all the way towards Buffalo. And you can see in the Cleveland area, things pretty wet on this draft day, although as we get into the evening hours, things might try to settle down a little bit more, but here are some of those moderate areas of rain, not really dealing with much thunder and lightning, but we still do have that chance for a few booms, especially back there into the mountains. So everybody getting in on the rain for today. Futurecast will keep those showers moving along as we head on into the afternoon. A persistent pitter-patter of those raindrops out there. Just watch out for some of the bigger puddles on area roadways. Hydroplaning will probably be an issue for today. Not really looking at any sort of flooding just because it has been fairly dry this month. So the ground able to soak up enough. And as we get towards the evening hours, still got those showers around. They're a little bit more intermittent as we get towards midnight and into the overnight hours. And early on Friday, we'll hang on to some of that rain, but those showers start to scoot on out. We could have some sunshine as we get into the afternoon. Temperatures will certainly be cold overall, at least pretty chilly overall. As a matter of fact, Futurecast wants to hit on a couple of isolated flakes into the higher elevations of western New York, but that's not really for us. Temperatures right now, 60 degrees in Tityute, 61 in Titusville, a little bit milder south of 90. You can see those temperatures caught up in the lower and middle 50s towards the lakeshore. For today, we are expecting temperatures to maybe inch up another degree or so, but generally lower middle 50s, basically right where we're at. Areas farther to the south making their way into the 60s, possibly a thunderstorm around Corey, also into Meadville, New Richmond, Bloomfield. A lot of clouds and the potential for a rumble of thunder. And you can see temperatures maybe a little bit milder towards Sheffield. Could even crack open a peak of sunshine, but that's really all we're looking at today as temperatures work their way into the 60s. We'll talk about the 7-day in just a moment.
All right, thank you, sir. If you're a football fan, then you know how big today is. And if not, you may be wondering what all the hype for tonight's big NFL draft event over in Cleveland's all about. Let's get you a live look at that draft setup. This is First Energy Stadium, not too far off of Lake Erie over in Cleveland. Yeah, a live look at that draft venue where it's all going to happen starting at 8 o'clock tonight. The Steelers will pick first out of the 3 local teams. They have the 24th selection overall, at least as it stands right now. Teams can trade those picks. The Browns are set at number 26 with the Bills slated to pick 30th. This morning, Erie News Now's Elena Jonathan actually gives us a taste of the draft day excitement over in Cleveland.
Draft day is an exciting time for football fans looking to add another key player to their favorite team's roster. Here in Erie, the 3 dominating sports teams are the Browns, Bills, and Steelers. All 3 teams are looking to add players, but some more than others.
Steelers will be the first of the regional teams to pick in this year's draft at 24 overall. A lot of analysts are saying that it's going to be a running back and or an offensive lineman.
Erie News Now sports director John Leidick says the Buffalo Bills are sitting in the most comfortable position when it comes to draft day picks.
Probably the most set roster, I think, at this point. There's been talks as well. They may look at Trevor Lawrence's teammate and Travis Etienne, the running back.
The Browns, too, have a lot to prove when it comes to competing this season.
Browns, it's looking like it's going to be defense. There's a couple of names. Zaven Collins out of Tulsa is one name. They could go one of the quarterbacks as well. Greg Newsome is another name out of Northwestern. And then
in terms of overall popular pick prospects, Leidick says Trevor Lawrence, a quarterback out of Clemson, is the man everyone has their eyes on.
His freshman year, Trevor Lawrence has been pegged as the guy. He's going to be the number 1 quarterback. He's been talked about as the greatest draft prospect since Andrew Luck came out in 2012. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have the opportunity to select him, and that is the consensus that he will go to Jacksonville.
And a reminder, Erie News Now has a live coverage coming away from Cleveland once again. That'll start tonight on Erie News Now at 5. And then join us from 7:30 to 8, WICU. It's a special half hour's worth of coverage called Drive to the Draft. We'll have look backs at draft days from years past with local players who got that call, rather. And we'll also have some other feature stories on what really makes this one of the biggest events of the sporting year calendar. 8 o'clock tonight. The draft starts. All right, David Walters has that first warning forecast. Looks like folks who are going to be attending that draft in person over in Cleveland might get soggy on the way to and fro.
Yeah, certainly. And for the longest time, the draft used to be in New York City, and that was, I believe, at Radio City Music Hall. But now they're featuring it more outdoors in different cities, and it just so happens, down there in Cleveland, it's going to be pretty icky as we head towards the evening hours, and temperatures will be rather cool today, even colder tomorrow, even with some sunshine as we get into the afternoon. More sunshine, increasing temperatures as we get into the first few days of May. You'll notice the weekend does start off fairly chilly, around about 40 degrees. And then next week, we get more opportunities for rain. So that deficit in precipitation that we've had as of late, certainly going to be made up between today and then again as we get into the first full week of May.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you for jumping on Facebook Live. We'll be back about the same time tomorrow to do another edition of the NOWCAST. Hey, we've got 30 minutes of news headed your way at noon on WSEE. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning for Erie News Now Sunrise.